It was the tale of two halves in Boston at the Garden. The Boston Celtics fell short to the Golden State Warriors 118 to 112. And we're going to get right down to it right here on Celtics World. What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Wayne Breezy. Welcome to Celtics World. You already know what time it is. Listen, the Boston Celtics had a tough one. They were going against a red hot, especially road warrior team. No pun intended. The Warriors came into town and they defeated the Boston Celtics. They beat us. They beat us. At the end of the day, they beat the Celtics. Period. End of discussion. But it was kind of like, for me, how the Celtics lost this game. Now, there's a lot of stuff that went into it. I think the Celtics did some things earlier in the game that's just un-Celtic characteristic like of them. But it is what it is. You know, they ended up losing the game. And you know what? I'm actually not upset with this loss. I'm not. I'm more upset that the Celtics lost to the Indiana Pacers. And I know I'm digging back into the crates at the beginning of the season, but that game sucked. You know, that game went into overtime and they lost that game. Both games, I would say, were kind of like scrappy games. Now, the Celtics have not won, well, maybe one game against the Detroit Pistons was kind of like a scrappy game. They figured out how to win that game. But, you know, against the Warriors, the Celtics just... You know, they did some things at the wrong moments and times, and the Warriors took advantage, and they got the dub. Now, a lot of people watched this game and felt like stuff came down to referees, whatever. However you want to look at it, the Celtics got beat, and they were defeated by the Warriors. So I'm going to give the Warriors, the Warriors defeated the Celtics 118 to 112. I don't care if it's fair and square or whatever you want to call it. They won the game. Period. End of discussion. Now, watching the Celtics play is tough because I felt like they couldn't get into a rhythm early and they were losing the majority of this game. And it wasn't until the second half where their three ball started to fall. They started to take some ridiculous 3-point shots that they were going in and they started coming back and then actually took the lead. And you're thinking, all right, the Celtics have an opportunity to win this game. Now, let me just remind everybody that there was no Jaylen Brown on the court. We already know we're going to be without Kristaps Porzingis. I'm already kind of like penning him out. He's not really a part of the team as of right now because we're not expecting him to play. The injury to Jaylen Brown, though, we're still a little bit unsure on what it is with this hip injury. Now, listen, I'm not an injury or excuse type of a person, but the Celtics definitely didn't have their second best player out there on the basketball court. And what you saw was resilience again and a bunch of fight from the Boston Celtics. So for that, if I can find my round of applause, we are going to give them a mother freaking round of applause. I'm not cheering them on because they lost. I'm more cheering them on saying, listen, at least they didn't bow down. They didn't lay down. And till the last 2 minutes of this game, they had him. Things just didn't go their way. We'll leave it at that. Look, overall, the Golden State Warriors balled out, and I got a couple of things that the Celtics got to figure out, to prevent stuff like this from happening. The first thing I want to talk about, give the Warriors their props. Stephen Curry finished with 27 points. He led the Warriors in scoring. Hit a big three, hit a couple of shots at the end, that foul at the end, which is questionable. Joe Mazzulla challenges that foul, and unfortunately, he doesn't win the challenge. That was clearly an offensive foul. It would have negated the three, and instead they gave them 3 shots. That, to me, the momentum shifted right there. That's when the momentum shifted, hands down. That was a money call for a money player in Stephen Curry. And you know what? I get mad when Jayson Tatum complains about not getting foul calls. And now I'm starting to understand why he's probably getting pissed off. Because you just gave that to Stephen Curry so he can create some space and just shoot a ball in the air when clearly their big guy was clearly moving on that legal pick. That's what it was. But you know what? They called it legal. They said play was not going to be overturned, and they kept it as the foul with the 3 shots. But you got to give the Warriors their props because Wiggins, Curry, their starters, those 2 starters, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Here's where the Celtics struggled against the bench. Now, I'm going to go out here and say that the Warriors may just have the best bench in the NBA. Their bench put up 9. Their bench, how many points they had? 118? Their bench scored 40. That can't be right. 49 points? Damn. Do I got that sound? 49 points. Their bench scored 49 points. Impossible. Well, that's what it was. Their bench came out, and they got good play from Gary Payton II. They got good play from Buddy Hield. He's the X factor. And I remember talking about him on like a preview show. For some reason, he gives the Celtics problems. It's just who he is, what he does. He can shoot the 3. Celtics left him wide open. They couldn't get to him on the rotation. He hits the 3-point shot, and it really is the dagger that gets put into the Celtics at that moment. That was the dagger, So Buddy Hield finished with 16 points. They got 10 points from Kuminga. They got 11 points. I'm looking at it right now from Kyle Anderson. Really? So their bench was definitely active in the scoring realm, and it definitely helped alleviate some of the pressure from some of the starters that were out there on the basketball court, because Draymond Green finished with 9, Tracy Jackson Davis finished with 8, Moses Moody finished with 9, and then it was Stephen Curry. So if you look at the starters, that was what the starters scored, but their bench came in and relieved a lot of pressure from some of the starters. So right there, that's key number 1. Number 1, the Boston Celtics got to figure out a way to not allow the other team's bench to go hamburger. It's different when it's like one player. This is 49 points. And the Celtics has been struggling against players off the bench all season. You go back to Indiana, it was Mathurin. You go to a different game, it's a different person. They got to find a way. Mathurin had 30 in that game against Indiana, against the Boston Celtics. The Celtics got to figure out how to not allow the bench, I don't care if it's one player or several players, to really get off on them. So their defense, in my opinion, has to find a way to pick up the intensity of the defense. I think the Celtics play too lackadaisical, which would be my number 2. They're too lackadaisical at times. There's times where the Celtics aren't running. They're not running over screens. They're not running around the screens. They're giving up these wide open jump shots. They're not rotating on perimeter defense. And that, to me, is why the Celtics are struggling. Like, they're struggling. They're allowing these players to score. Look, I'm not a basketball analyst. I'm a podcaster, but I do know what I see, and I'm going to put it in layman's terms for just about everybody. The Boston Celtics got to play with intensity and fire offensively and defensively. They got that from one person. Well, I'm not saying that the Celtics defense was bad, but the spark for the Boston Celtics is Neemias Queta. He's the spark. That's the guy. He's getting shots. He's getting dunks. He's blocking shots. He's rebounding. This dude had how many offensive rebounds did he finish with? He finished with what? He finished with 5 offensive rebounds in this game. Total 8 rebounds total. Those 5 offensive rebounds is key because when I look at my number 3, the Boston Celtics got out offensive rebounds. You can't get out offensive rebound because now you're giving a team that likes to shoot more chances to score. It's not like this is a drive team. They're going to score inside. Now they got shooters, dog. And Stephen Curry is the quickest release in the game. He's looking to get it up. And so that right there, man, 15 offensive rebounds from the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they out-rebounded us by 2 offensively. But when you're looking at those second chance points and what they ended up leading to, it's why the Celtics couldn't really pull away with this game. And when the Celtics cooled down, that's when it all hit the fan. So the Boston Celtics, man, they're a great team. 7-2, love them. Great team. They're going to be fine. They got the Brooklyn Nets coming at home to where they can kind of like do something to redeem themselves. Celtics need to get a win for sure. 1,000% for sure. They need to get this win against the Brooklyn Nets. It would just help them out. Obviously, it's an Eastern Conference game. But overall, when you're looking at the Boston Celtics, they just need to be able to play with that intensity and that fire. And they haven't lost to the Brooklyn Celtics in a long time. And I'm going back. The last time the Celtics lost to the Nets was March 3rd of 2023. Other than that, they're finding ways to beat the Brooklyn Celtics. The Brooklyn Nets. So the Boston Celtics just got to go out there and do what they do, play basketball, and keep it all 100. They got to play with energy. Will Jaylen Brown play? I don't know. And at this point, if we're not getting any updates on what this hip injury is, the Celtics are going to have to find ways to continue to win without their second best player out there on the basketball court, a guy that's going to create and generate offense and things like that, and defense for the Boston Celtics, and push the ball, and fast breaks, and alt transition. And if he's not there, the Celtics got to figure out a different way. And so I'm watching this game. They're playing against a team that's really hot. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets are a team that's going to really challenge the Celtics in that way, but the Celtics do not want to go out there and play with their food. They want to go out there and take care of business at home and put the Nets away early so that they can get some rest before they hit the road to Milwaukee. So when I'm looking at the Celtics, I'm saying to myself, this game against the Warriors, SOL, Warriors won. Oh, well, whoopsie dazzles against the Western Conference. But, write down some notes, figure out what you can do to be better, and then go out there and open up a can of whip ass on the next team. It's basketball. It's a bunch of 80-plus games. Wait, 82, right? It's a lot of games. They got a lot of games to go. Celtics are at 7-2. They lost to the Pacers, who's a tough matchup. They lost to the Warriors, a tough matchup. Teams that are tough matchups are going to give the Celtics a run for their money. It's not like the Celtics are going to blow these teams out of the water. They do find ways to win. Celtics did pretty good at finding a way to climb out of the hole that they dug themselves in against the Golden State Warriors. Overall, I think that the Celtics played decent. They just couldn't finish the game. Those 3 shots weren't falling. I thought that last 3-point shot attempt by Jayson Tatum was terrible. But it is what it is. Tatum did finish with 32 points. Tatum's been balling. You look at the Celtics, man, the offense, the starters, they're doing exactly what they need to do. Derek White finished with 26 points. But when you go to the bench, and the bench is only allowed to give you 24 points, and you're getting outscored 49-24, that's a 25-point differential. Look at the score. 118-112. For those that don't know the score. 118-112. That's your score right there. So the Celtics, it's not like they got to do a bunch of adjusting, or there definitely should be no panicking whatsoever. You showed it to this game. You balled out. You didn't have your second best player. You made it a game. And at the end, you fell short. That's what happened. They fell short. They couldn't close it out. It's okay. You move on to the next one, and you keep it moving, and you get the dub against the next team that they got to play, which is the Brooklyn Nets on Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Let me know what you guys think about the Boston Celtics and how they played against the Warriors. Do you think this is going to affect them mentally? There was a bunch of stuff going into this game with Steve Kerr, Jayson Tatum, this, that, and the third. Steve Kerr had his guys prepared. He had his bench prepared because his bench put up 49 points. I can't stop right there. That's money. You get 49 points, it's going to be tough to win. If the bench is giving you 49, I can see if the starting unit gave you 49 and the bench gave you 49, now you got a game, but you gave up, the difference, right? So Celtics got to do a better job. They did allow them to shoot 46.2%. 41.2% from the three. Celtics shot 35.2% from the three. They attempted 54 threes to 34. Celtics got to figure out a better way, other ways to score as well. Again, here's some bright sides. Derek White is playing some of the best ball offensively of his career. And I'm starting to see no fear from Derek White. That right there, my friends, is scary. No fear. What we're getting from Peyton Pritchard off the bench is phenomenal because you need a guy that can score and run the second unit, right? And so Peyton Pritchard is consistently dropping 16 points, 20 points, whatever. Good. Let him continue to be that. My issue in this game, they couldn't match the intensity of what they were doing as far as getting over those picks. It was pick city. Pick city. Love the intensity. Kata got his second start. Loved what they did. Love having Al Horford play the 4. And I don't think Joe Mazzulla needs to change up anything. I think the starting lineup, as long as Jaylen Brown is out, can remain this. Can we get more from Drew? Yeah, possibly. He needs to be a little bit more efficient out there. But, he's out there defending some of those guards out there from the Golden State Warriors. It's not easy defending Curry when there's a bunch of switching and picks going on. So, look, I ain't going to sit here and hold y'all or whatever. The Boston Celtics fell short. They got beat. It's okay. If you're a Celtics fan, you don't have to panic. Nothing really bad happened here. They just didn't find a way to close out this game. But I guarantee you, bring Brooklyn to Boston, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Until the next time, Celtics World, keep it up, man. We are different here for a reason. And when you're a champion, you deflect these and you find a way to move on. Till the next time, peace out. Celtics World!